to imagine that you're visiting an optometrist, and after briefly listening to your complaint, he takes off his glasses and says, "Here, try these on right here." Okay, can you see? Try them on. These seem to work well for me. Now, this scenario seems kind of absurd, right? And I doubt it actually happens to you. But if you think about it, this happens to us all the time. A lot of times we actually prescribe a solution to a problem without even listening to the problem. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So I want to welcome you. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. This is where we're doing 5-minute exercises, one each for the mind, the body, and the soul. And my name is McAdams. I'm an author. I'm also an accounting professor and a certified life coach. I specialize in personal and small business finance and also fitness. I help people reach their goals. And how I'm doing that this morning is by discussing the book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And again, we're winding down. We're coming to habit number 5 today. And I highly recommend, if you've not read this book, or if you know, obviously if you've been listening to me, you've heard of the book, but if you've not read it, I highly recommend that you get a copy of this book. This is a great book to have. And for those of you that have, teenagers, especially those that are graduating from high school, this makes a wonderful graduation gift. As a matter of fact, it's one of the gifts that I usually give out for students for graduation, because again, it talks about the 7 habits. If you've been listening to me for the past couple of weeks, you understand the importance of this book and what it pertains as to developing habits to have an effective and successful life. But anyway, so that scenario I just talked about, give me a second. I kind of like messed up my glasses while I was showing it to you. My fingertips touched it. Okay, there we go. All right, so that scenario about visiting an optometrist and him listening briefly to your complaint and then taking off his glasses and giving it to you, that actually does happen to us, because as I mentioned before, a lot of times when people tell us their problems, we barely listen to it, and then we all of a sudden we give our advice without really listening to what they're saying. So this brings us to habit number 5, which is seek first to understand and then be understood. Okay, let me say it again, because it goes by quickly, especially as early in the morning, right? Seek first to understand and then be understood. You see, a lot of times what happens is we first seek to be understood. So when people are telling us their problems or, talking to us, we're listening with the intent to reply. And if we're not speaking, we're preparing to speak, right? And even if we do listen, we then filter the information that they're giving us through our paradigms, okay? So through our perspective. And how effective is that? Well, guess what? It's not. So I want to first talk about the 5 stages of listening, okay? So this chapter, or this part of the book, it's not a chapter. I guess it could be. It's considered the 5th habit. But the 5th habit talks about the 5 stages of listening. So the first stage of listening is ignoring. Well, obviously, you're not listening. Okay. The second one is pretending listening. Then the third one is selective listening. And basically with selective listening, we do this all the time, right? We're guilty of this. We selectively pick out the pieces that we want to listen to and or respond to. And then the fourth one is where we think we actually think we're effective. This is actually the active/reflective listening. And this is the one where we actually, again, we think that we're doing a good job because we're actively listening. Like, this is where we're giving ourselves kudos because we're listening to what the person is saying. We're hearing them. But you know what? Actually, what you're doing in this part, this type of listening, is that you're comparing their situation to your own lives. And that's not effective at all, because again, remember, seek first to understood. So how can you understand if you're comparing it to your own life? It's your own perspective, it's your own paradigm, right? So a more effective way to listen is the 5th way of listening, the 5th stage of listening, which is empathic listening. Now with empathic listening, what you're doing is you're actually listening with the intent to understand intellectually and emotionally what the person is saying. Now, there's 4 stages of this one as well. Okay, so 4 stages of empathic listening. Remember, this is the most effective type of listening, is empathic listening. All right, so the first stage is when you actually mimic what the person is saying. So let's give an example. Let's say that a person says, "I've had it with work." Okay, so on that first stage, you mimic them. You say, "You've had it with work." Well, that's mature, right? No, that's immature. So that's not the stage you want to be at. The second stage is where you're going to actually rephrase what they're saying. So let's say the person says, "I've had it with work." And so what you say is, "So you're sick of work." Okay, you're moving right along. Well, the third stage of empathic listening is where you actually, you reflect the feeling. So then if a person is saying, "I've had it with work," then you respond with, "You're sick of work. I understand you're sick of work." Okay, we're moving up the progressive stage. And then the fourth, and obviously the most effective one, is actually a combination of stage number 2 and stage number 3. So in stage number 4, what you're doing is you're actually rephrasing the content, and then you're actually reflecting a feeling. Okay, so if a person says, I've had it with work, then you respond by saying, I understand that you're sick of work, and then you go on. And throughout the conversation, you continuously reflect what they're saying, the content, and then also rephrase the content and also reflect the feeling. And when you do that, that's when you're able to understand what they're saying, and then you're actually better able to explain their situation to them than what they said. And as you can see, in that type of scenario, now you're working together. Now understand that that's just the first part of it, right? Empathic listening. So now you understand what they're saying because you're continuously rephrasing their content. You know, you're saying this to them too. You're reflecting their content, you're rephrasing their content, and you're also reflecting the feeling. Because a lot of times when we get, you know, let's put ourselves on the other end where we're actually the one that's complaining about something, we're really caught up into our feelings of how we feel about the situation. Well, guess what? You know, feelings, you can't really, there's nothing you can really do with feelings because you can't argue someone's feelings. And if you try to argue someone's feelings without understanding what's being said, then basically you're going to be on the side of the table bickering back and forth. And you really can't bicker about someone's feelings because they can't help how they feel, right? It's how they feel. But if you first try to understand what they're saying by rephrasing what they're saying and then reflecting the feeling back and forth to them, now you're understanding. Now you're on the other side of the table with them, and now you're better able to come up with a logical solution, because that's when you actually get ready to solve the problem, is when it actually becomes logical. So in that situation where they say, you know, I'm sick of work, then as the conversation starts to progress, then they may ask you a question of, do you think I should leave work? Well, now that's logic, and now you can deal with logic. So now you're on the same side of the table, and you have a logical question in front of you about whether or not the person should leave work, and now you can have that conversation and come up with a solution, okay? So that's what we're talking about today. Seek first to understand and then be understood. You first have to understand. How do you understand someone? You have to have empathic listening. That means to listen with your ears and also open mind, not based upon your paradigm, not about how you see it, right? It's basically listening by rephrasing what they're saying, rephrasing the content, and also reflecting the feeling. And then once you do that, then you're able to come up with a logical solution to the problem. All right, so that's your content for today as far as a summary. Seek first, understand, and then be understood. Now I want to give you a challenge, because remember I mentioned that for each of these habits, there's going to be a challenge. So your challenge is this one. I want you to think of a recent conversation that you've had with a loved one, you know, something that didn't really go off that well. And I want you to write down in their perspective what you think the problem was, okay? Just write it down. And then the next time that something comes up with that person, then I want you, you know, it's got to be around that same, you know, situation, obviously, or similar situation. Then I want you to then, you know, think and, you know, listen, and then compare with what you wrote down to see if you actually had the right point of view. Because that's when you first, you know, that's when you're getting to the part of, you know, seeking to understand someone, you know, first to be understood and then to understand them. That's it, right? Seeking to understand and then be understood. When you understand their problem, then you're able to help them with it, but you can't do it from your own perspective. Okay, so that's your challenge. All right, good morning, Suresh. Nice to see you this morning. All right, so guys, again, hopefully this was helpful for you, because again, we're talking about the habits, and before we go on, I do want to go over the habits again, and then I'll move on to the yoga. Just to recap, habit number 1 was to be proactive. All right, habit number 2 was to begin with the end in mind. Habit number 3 was put first things first. Habit number 4 was think win-win. And then the 5th habit we talked about today is seek to understand and then to be seek first to understand and then to be understood. All right, so again, these habits, we're counting down, we're getting down. Oh, you know what? I plugged in my mic, but it's actually sitting right here. So when I get ready to unplug it, I'm like, where's my mic? So if you saw me looking around, I was looking for this little thingy right here. Right. So again, hopefully that was helpful to you. We're going to move on to the next segment, where we're going to do a 5-minute yoga routine. And this is where we're going to get into our mind-body connection. So how are you guys doing this morning? Good to see you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on live. And also for those of you that listen to recording, I'd like to also thank you as well. Again, this small little insect bites, little mosquito bites of information in order to elicit transformation, because I want you to understand when it comes to transformation. Let me try something right now, because that should have been on to begin with. When it comes to transformation, it's just those little things that you do every single day that's going to add up. And again, I said every single day. You say, okay, you want me to do this every single day, work on my mind, body, and soul? Absolutely. You know what? You don't blink when I ask you, do you brush your teeth every day, do you? Okay, so why can't you work on something every single day as well? Okay, so now we're going to move on to the yoga portion of it. And for this one, let's go ahead and just start off in tabletop today. Okay, so tabletop is on your hands and knees. You make sure that your fingers are spread out nice and wide. Your palms are directly underneath your shoulders and your knees are directly underneath your hip. And remember, these next two segments, these are practice segments. I want you to practice with me. You're not going to get much out of it just by watching me. Well, maybe you will, but you'll get more out of it by joining me. And I do invite you to join me with this, okay? So you don't have to have a yoga mat. You can just be wherever you are in a little space in the floor, just a little area. You don't need much. You see, I don't have a lot of space here because of the camera range that I have it. So just wherever you are, just kind of get down on your hands and knees and let's do a little bit of yoga. All right, so let's get started, tabletop. All right, just take a couple of breaths here in this position. Just kind of get your body centered. Get yourself rooted. Go ahead and set your intention for this practice, this little 5-minute segment here. And then just start to move around, just kind of move your hips side to side. Maybe drop your chin down to your chest. Take your chin over toward your shoulders. Kind of warming up. Just kind of move your body around. Remember, it's about movement, so you want to go internal and see where you are, how you're feeling at this moment. This second day of August. Alrighty, it's the 2nd of August. Or is it the 1st? I'm getting confused here. It's the 2nd. All right, let's go ahead and return back to tabletop. I want you to draw your breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to drop your chin down toward your chest and round through your spine as you tuck your tailbone under. And as you inhale, your head and chest comes forward. Arch your back and stick your tailbone out. Press your shoulder blades down and away from your ears. And as you exhale, round through your spine. Tuck your pelvic under. Drop your chin down toward your chest. Still pressing those shoulder blades, those armpits down. So again, inhaling. And exhaling. Now this is one of my favorite stretches to do in the morning, so just kind of take a couple more deep breaths. Just going through this cat-cow motion, just kind of stretching again. Going internally, seeing where your body is, just kind of getting warmed up here. Now in this next exhalation, I want you to draw your toes under, and let's go ahead and take it to downward facing dog. And start to pedal your legs. Now this Adho Mukha Savasana, this is a resting position. And you're saying, well, why are we resting? We're warming up. We're pedaling our legs. Warming up those hamstrings. There's a gentle stretch from your fingertips to the shoulder blades. Those are also getting warmed up. Hand is in alignment with your bicep. Again, use this time to go internally, see what's going on inside of you. As we get ready to draw some heat, let's come up on the top of our toes. And round down to the balls of your feet all the way down toward the heels. Pressing your chest towards your thighs and your knees. Let's do that again. Come up on the top of your toes. And then roll down to the balls of your feet all the way down toward the heels. Let's do it again. Come up on your top of your toes. This time we're going to lean over to the left. You're going to bend that left knee. In a nice gentle stretch here. Try to keep that right leg straight. You're pressing your chest toward your knees and your thighs. And then we're going to return back to center and then roll all the way down. Come up on our fingertips and we're going to walk our fingertips to our toes. And then we're going to slowly round it up, taking it one vertebrae at a time. And take your time here, making sure that your head is the last to rise. All right, let's go ahead and ground yourself first in Tadasana. So mountain pose. So your feet are together slightly apart, about hip distance apart is okay. Your arms down by your side, your shoulders are drawn down and back, your head is a natural extension of the spine. Pretend like there's a line going from the top of your head all the way up to your ceiling, and you're standing up nice and tall. You're feeling grounded. There's a root from the bottom of your feet going all the way down through your forehead to Middle Earth, and you're being grounded. It's wrapped itself around itself stable. Sorry, my hand's like cut off. I'm like right there, right? All right, let's go ahead and take a deep breath as we draw our arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to dive the body forward. And as we inhale, we're going to look up halfway. As we exhale, we're going to forward fold to Uttanasana, and then inchworm our way out to plank. And let's do a couple warm up here. Exhale, take it to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, we're going to walk our fingertips back to our toes. We're going to inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Forward fold to Uttanasana as you inchworm yourself out to the plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, walk your fingertips to your toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. This time, arch back for me. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Forward fold to Uttanasana as we inchworm our way to the plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to downward facing dog and hold. And start to pedal. Body should be feeling nice and warm here. Now really go internal, see where there's any tightness in your area. Let's go ahead and address those. Any strain, any stress, any pain, any negativity. Use your breath, drawing your breath in. Nice, deep Ujjayi breath. Let's go ahead and come up on the top of our toes. And roll down to the balls of your feet all the way down toward the heels. Let's do it again. Come up on the top of your toes. And then roll down to the balls of your feet all the way down to the heels. One more time, come up on top of our toes. This time we're going to lean over to the right and draw that right knee in. Again, left leg stays stretched. Pressing your chest toward that thigh and that knee. And then return back to the toes and then roll down to the balls of your feet all the way down to the heels. Let's inhale to plank. And then come up from our fingertips and walk it back to our toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. We're going to arch back. Exhale, dive the body forward. Uttanasana. Look up halfway. Forward fold, inchworm to the plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Go ahead and hold the plank. Couple breaths here. Remember, take your time. If you need to modify, go ahead and release your knees and drop it down to a modified plank. From here, your next exhalation, release your knees, chest and chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. And then inhale the upward facing dog. Curl those toes under. Exhale the downward facing dog. Nice deep Ujjayi breaths. Now bring that left knee into your chest and extend that left leg all the way back, and then bend that knee to open up the hip. Continue to breathe. Now go ahead and bring that knee forward. Place it just below your belly. Turn that left leg out. Knee goes down toward the mat. And then slide that right leg all the way back. You can stay here in the modified pigeon here. Head is natural extension of spine. Or you can take your forehead down toward the mat. Now as you're breathing, you're pressing your hips flat toward the mat and they're squared. Remember, use your breath. Release any tension, stress, negativity out from your body. All right, come on up on that right toe. Bring your body forward slightly. Place your palms flat. Come up on the right toe. And then take it back to downward facing dog. Now come up on your fingertips and walk it back toward the toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. Arch back. Exhale, forward fold. Look up halfway. Flatten out the palms. Inchworm to the plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time, inhale and hold plank. Couple breaths here. Remember, if you're doing a chaturanga, bring those chaturanga dandasana, bring those elbows back. Release your knee, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upper facing dog. Curl the toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now bring that right knee in toward your chest and extend that right leg all the way back. Bend the knee to open up the hip. Nice deep ujjayi breaths. Now go ahead and bring that right knee toward your navel. Extend that right leg out toward the left. Slide the left leg all the way back and take it down to the pigeon. It's a good one. It's a good pose. Open up your hips. Make sure that your hips are squared. A lot of times we tend to roll over to one side or the other. And if you need to, remember, you can always modify. You can be here, or you can actually be here if you're really, really tight. Soft elbows, okay? Try to make your way down to your forearms if you can, or all the way down. Just do whatever feels comfortable. Remember, as you inhale, just kind of hold your position. As you exhale, just direct your breath to any tightness, any stiffening, pain, or any stress that you feel in your hips. All right, go ahead and position your body weight forward as you come up on that left toe. And let's take it back to downward facing dog. Now this time, we're going to walk our feet toward our palms. And let's go ahead and forward fold here in Uttanasana. Let's grab our fingertips, or take our fingertips and grab our elbows. Micro bend on those knees. Let the crown of your head bring your body weight naturally forward. Again, as you inhale, just kind of hold your position. And as you exhale, hinge forward slightly more from your hips. Now go ahead and release your fingertips down toward the mat. And then slowly round it up. Always taking it one vertebrae at a time. Making sure that your head is last to rise. Let's come to Tadasana. Come up a little. All right, let's do a couple more rotations. Inhale. Take your body back. Exhale, dive the body forward. Couple more salutations here. Inhale, look up halfway. Flatten out the palms, step back, left, right to the plank. Release your knee, chest, chin. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upper facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Step forward, left, right. Inhale, take it all the way up, arch back. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Flatten out the palms. This time step back, right, left into the plank. Release your knee, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upper facing dog. Curl those toes under. Exhale to downward facing dog. Walk your feet in. Roll it up. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Place your palms flat. Step out right, left, right toward the edges of the mat. And as you exhale, release your tailbone down toward the mat. Using the elbows to push out on those inner thighs. Bring those palms together, the heart center. Bow your head into Malasana. Gratitude. Continue to breathe. I always like to end in Malasana because this is a great one to open up your hip. We tend to spend a lot of our days in a seated position, which shortens our hip flexors and gives us tight muscles on those joints. So I always like to end with the opening up of the hip flexor here. So just continue to breathe, and remember, you're pressing out using your triceps to push out on those inner thighs. Open up the knees and releasing the hips. Set intent for the next segment, meditation. Then release the palms down, and then slowly start to transition your body weight into a comfortable seated position facing forward. And making sure that you're on your sits bones and off the fleshy part of your bottom. Take the fingertips down by your side. We're going to draw our breath in as we inhale. And as we exhale, release the fingertips down toward the mat. Again, inhale. And exhale. One more time, take a nice deep breath, inhaling. This time we're going to greet the palms together at the very top. Draw your shoulders, take them down and away from your back. And then we're going to exhale down through the center. And namaste. Alright, so this brings us to our meditation. If you're just joining us, welcome. Once you get into a nice comfortable seated position, if you're sitting in a chair, I'd like to remind you to take off your shoes, make sure that your feet are grounded to the floor. Sitting up nice and tall. If you are sitting in a chair, make sure that you're on the edge of the chair and you're not slouched back. If you're sitting on the floor, make sure it's a nice comfortable position. Your chest is lifted, head is natural extension of the spine. Again, you're not slouching, okay? So sit up nice and tall. But make sure that you're comfortable. As far as your fingers are concerned, whatever your hands feel comfortable, you can likely slightly touch your thumb, your index finger with your fingers open up together and open up wide. You can say here, or you can actually do where your right palm is into your left palm and your thumbs are slightly touching. Okay? And this is in your lap, or if you're sitting down in the chair, you can just place your hands on your lap. Again, whatever feels comfortable to you. All right, invite you to draw your breath in. And as you exhale, release your chin down toward your chest. Close your eyes. As you inhale, your head and chest comes up. And as you exhale, release your chin down toward your chest. Again, as you inhale, head that goes up, forehead goes up toward the sky. And as you exhale, drop your chin down toward your chest. One more time, as you inhale, your head and chest comes up, forehead goes up toward the sky. This time as you exhale, bring your chin forward so it's a natural extension of your spine. Keep your eyes closed and continue to breathe nice, deep Ujjayi breaths. Time to relax the body. Focus on your breath. As you inhale, your belly is expanding. And as the diaphragm is moving its way up in the chest cavity, your chest is expanding out as those lungs are filled up with oxygen. You're inhaling through your nose. And as you're exhaling, blowing it out, your chest collapses and your belly drops in. Just focus on those breaths. Any thoughts that are coming into your mind at this point, just gently push them aside. Pay no mind, pay no attention to them. They're natural, they're normal, you're alive. And just focus on your breath. Inhaling deeply through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. I want you to draw your attention to your forehead. I want you to squinch those muscles in your forehead really tight and then release them. Now all the muscles in your face, squint your nose, squint your cheeks, clench your teeth really, really tight and then release. Now I want you to take your shoulders and hunch them up toward your ears, really, really tight, really high, and then release. So relax, release all the tension and stress that you may be carrying in the upper part of your body. Again, as we go through this relaxation, if there's any thoughts that are coming into your mind, just gently push them aside. Just let them go by like the breeze in the wind, and just focus on your breath. I want you to squeeze your fingertips real tight, ball them up into a fist, and I want you to bring your palms together and bring it up toward your shoulders, squeezing all the muscles in your arms and also your chest and the upper back. And then slowly release the fingers, let the arms go down, release and relax all the tension and strain and stress in those muscles. Now I want you to draw your belly button in tight, squeeze it in towards your spine, hold it, and then release. Continue breathing nice, deep ujjayi breaths. Now go ahead and squeeze your buttocks and release. Now those muscles in your thighs, and your calf muscles. Now go ahead and squinch up your toes and ball your feet. Squinch them out really, really tight. This time I want you to hold it and then release. Go ahead and wiggle your toes. Your body should be completely relaxed. Just focus on your breathing. If there's any remaining stress in your body, go ahead and address it this time. Take a nice deep breath and just release it out of you. Just go ahead and marinate in this relaxation. Continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You're doing good. Now go ahead and take a nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Again, nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. One more time, take a nice deep breath and exhale it all the way out. I invite you to open up your eyes as you return, relaxed, refreshed, and calm. You've done something good for yourself. Thank you for taking the time to meditate with me, and also thank you for taking the time to watch this live broadcast to transform your life in 15 minutes. Your word for today is wellness. I want you to have a Wellness Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Bye.